Welcome to another edition of Songs of the Ozarks, a project of the Ozark Studies Institute, an ongoing initiative of the Missouri State University Libraries. My name is Emalee Flatness, and today's date is August 10th, 2022. Our special guest today is Sylamore Special, not Sylamore Special, right?
That's great. Sylamore.
Thank you guys so much for meeting with me today, and we're here at Silver Dollar City. Y'all are about to play in just a second, aren't you?
We are. We're looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, my first question is, are you all Ozarks natives?
For the most part, I think we are.
I think I am.
Well,
They are.
Yeah.
Outcast of two. But three of us are.
Okay, so where are you from, Mercy?
I'm from Greenbrier, Arkansas.
Okay, is that in the Ozarks?
It's about an hour south, an hour and a half south, around there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Where do you make your home now?
Greenbrier.
Greenbrier.
I moved back to Greenbrier after
Awesome.
a little bit of moving.
What about you, Lillian?
I was raised in Mountain View, Arkansas. I was born in Batesville and raised in Mountain View.
Awesome. What about you, Mary?
So I was just about 45 minutes away from Mountain View. We were still in the mountains in Quitman, Arkansas, but over half of my life I've lived in Mountain View.
Awesome. What about you, Turner?
Well, if we're taking it literally, I was born in Little Rock and then moved to Benton. My parents moved to Benton.
Awesome.
And then pretty much Cabot. I grew up in Cabot till I was 13, and then we moved to Mountain View and met all these people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How old were you when you moved to, you were 13 when you moved to
13,
Mountain
uh-huh.
View?
Moved
How old are you
27,
now?
18.
Awesome. What about you, Gordon?
Same as Mary.
So you guys are siblings?
We are, unfortunately.
So how did you all, each of you, get involved in old-time or bluegrass music?
You start with you?
Well, yeah. I was never actually an old time. I was with a family band when I was around 8 or 9 up until I was around 14. And then, like last year, I got involved with Sylamore Special and then kind of took off from there.
Awesome. So does your family still play?
No, we quit 4 years ago due to just chronic illness.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So, how did your family initially get started playing music?
Well, we initially started just going around playing in nursing homes for ministry, and I didn't really know I liked to sing or play music or anything, and then I just started playing a little bit of fiddle. Got okay at that. Now I've forgotten completely everything. I don't know anything. And I got a bass when I was 11, 10, and ever since I've just got a heart for music and singing and all that.
So you kind of got started on gospel music, it sounds
Yes,
like?
yeah.
Bluegrass gospel?
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. What about you, Lillian?
Well, I started out as an old-time musician because a school program in our public school called Music Roots. Starting in 4th grade, you're allowed to pick an American folk instrument of your choice, and you get free lessons on those as well as a free instrument. And you move to ensemble and learn how to work together as a band from that. That's how I met Mary. And so I played old time for the longest time. And maybe 4 years into it, they like, would you like to play three-finger? And I was like, maybe. And so I dabbled in it for like years, and I never really put any effort until like about 3 years ago, and I was like, okay, maybe I do need to learn how to play three-finger. And so then I started playing it, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I still live old time as well, but I play bluegrass a lot now too.
That's awesome. What about you, Mary?
So, like, my parents, or my dad specifically, he always had a love for, like, classic country and bluegrass music. And we were not too far from Mountain View, so we made some regular trips. And when I was around the age of 4, I decided, hey, I was watching RFD TV, and I was like, that instrument, the fiddle, that's really cool. I want to learn that. So they took me to Mountain View, bought me my first fiddle. It was too big for me, so I waited a year, started taking lessons at 5. And like Lillian, I started off on old-time music. Later progressed and branched out to different genres, such as bluegrass, and that's what I mainly play now, too.
Turner, what about you?
I mean, before I moved to Mountain View, I never really knew anything about bluegrass or anything else. I guess the closest was Southern Gospel to bluegrass, because my mom loves Southern Gospel.
Mm-hmm.
But when we moved to Mountain View, I was also like Lily. I ended up in the Music Roots program because my parents recommended me to at least try it. So I picked guitar because it's the one I was most familiar with. I didn't really know anything about the mandolin or anything else. So yeah, I mean, was introduced to folk music, it was just kind of a thing that I enjoyed doing. I like playing guitar, but then when I heard bluegrass, I was like, I want to do this. I really want to do this. So, yeah, it's pretty much, yeah.
Who's your biggest musical influence, Turner?
Tony Rice.
Oh, okay.
Shocker.
Would you recommend Tony Rice to all of the viewers today?
I would, but I would also trying to think of a way to word it. You may not like his playing, you may not like his style, but at least just appreciate what he did.
Awesome.
He changed how guitar was played at the time. So, yeah.
What about you, Gordon?
Well, I moved to Mountain View with Mary because we're the same family, unfortunately.
Unfortunately for her.
So on down the line after she started playing, I picked up fiddle with her mom, Lily's. And I did that for about a year, and I quit. Don't know why, really. I picked up mandolin when I was like 8, and I've kind of just been playing that ever since.
Awesome. So you prefer mandolin over fiddle?
If I played fiddle longer, I think I'd like that better.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to put the effort into it.
Aww. So, you guys, you've obviously said you're all kind of based in Mountain View, except for Mercy. Sorry, Mercy. So, tell me a little bit about Mountain View. What is the culture like? It's known as the folk music capital of the world. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, our industry in Mountain View is very focused around tourism and just really the expression of Ozark culture in the old-time ways. So, I mean, we were really rooted in old-time music as well as what we show in a lot of our shows, but we also have a bunch of different craftsmen who present the original, traditional ways, and just any really aspect of Ozark culture you can think of, you could probably find at Mountain View.
Wow. So what's a little bit of the history of Mountain View?
I know that for the longest time it was kind of untouched by the outside world.
Wow.
People discovered it, I think, in the 70s. It was very, very secluded. People were still making their own soap, and a lot of that was due to the surrounding mountains, because you have the valley in the middle, you know, where the main town is, and you have the surrounding hills. People don't want to have to make that trip, you know, so people there just kind of lived on as they had in the past. So they didn't really change that much, and Mountain View is still kind of a time capsule in that manner.
What do you think differentiates Mountain View from the rest of the Ozarks? Do you think Mountain View is just far more secluded and that's why it is that time capsule, or?
I think it I think it definitely had an influence in that. I think Mountain View definitely has a better music scene than most places in the Ozarks, or most places I would argue in America. I mean, you will hardly find another place where people come down on the weekends or on cool afternoons in the summer just to play music with each other. It's a very unique and rare environment, and it's very nurturing to young musicians, especially if they're interested in country, bluegrass, or old time.
Yeah, and folkways are more preserved around there.
So oftentimes I'll ask people, what do you think differentiates music in the Ozarks from music in the U.S.? But in this case, what do you all think differentiates music in Mountain View from the rest of the Ozarks? Is there a lot of different styles? Do you find less old time, or?
Yeah, well, Mountain View really has changed music scenes throughout the years. Like, sometimes they'll come in waves, like there'll be like a really big folk wave, then there'll be a bluegrass wave. I mean, but no matter where you are in that time, you always find the two different genres in Mountain View. I would say for a long time, Ozark music in Mountain View was almost obsolete. We found that a lot of the older musicians were dying off, and that's one of the reasons why a Music Roots program was created in the first place. But in that, a lot of the Ozark folk songs started to die, and so a lot of people, in an effort to preserve old-time music just in general, went to like the Appalachian Mountains to get some of those old songs. And so I would argue that Mountain View, in comparison to like other places, like especially in Missouri, we have more of a variety of old time. Like we have some Ozark music, but we also have a lot of different old time music from other regions as well.
Exactly.
Awesome. Who are some of the most famous folks, musicians that have come out of Mountain View that you know of?
Like as of the time now or in the past?
If you guys don't want to answer this question,
I
that's
know,
okay.
I know one, Jimmy Driftwood.
Yeah.
So he was, for people who don't know, he was the one who wrote the song about
8th of January.
the Battle of New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, that one.
And so it was put to the old time tune, the 8th of January, and he got nominated for Grammys and all the other stuff. He did a lot of big stuff, but in the end he moved back to Mountain View, or to Stone County, Arkansas. And so he was a founder of the Ozark Folk Center, and he was on the committee for like the longest time to organize all the festivals around Mountain View. I would say he's probably the biggest name to come out of Mountain View, or the most recognizable.
That's awesome. So, how do you all see the future of music in Mountain View going?
I see it slowly growing.
Yeah.
It had died off for a little bit, for a while, and the more I go up there, we used to have a show in Mountain View, my family did, but we never lived there. But the more I go up there, the more I'm seeing a new younger generation come together, which is very encouraging. Just, I think bluegrass is especially
You see,
taking
yeah, exactly. You see a passion of young musicians that are wanting to continue and preserve the music and the folk ways as well. So I'm hoping, and I think it will continue to grow, just like Marcy said.
And I've seen especially not just bluegrass, but also kind of a folk revival similar to what was seen in the 70s. It kind of happened right after COVID. You know, people not just coming to Mountain View to listen to the old folk music, but they're coming and saying, how can I make my own self if times get hard like they did back then? And I think we're seeing a big push, not just towards, the Ozark folkways, but just folkways in general, sustainable living, like was very common back then. So I think we're going to see not just bluegrass keep on thriving, but also a little bit more of the folkways as well.
Okay, it's 12 o'clock. Would you guys want to do maybe a little part 2 after your sound check, or do you think you'll be too busy?
I think we could do that.
You want
we got
to?
30 minutes.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. She's a lot like the whippoorwill. Sound of her voice to be
guys
Try to
during the
find
show
more albums
too,
from them.
because I may not be able to hear the vocals very well in this room.
Okay.
So I'll record a little bit of your show too, just in case.
Okay. Sounds good.
You gonna play another one till Clay gets back here? Sure. Whatever you guys wanna do.
Four men walking around. I thought that'd be cool. You gonna do that one? Are you sure?
B flat.
So is that A, right?
Who did this song?
The I song.
Oh,
Well, Dan